What's going on, everybody? So, I just was sitting here at work just thinking, like, I'm starting to realize why people just up and quit their jobs and they just step out on faith on any aspect of, because they probably not happy or they have bigger like hopes and dreams for themselves other than working this 9 to 5 and being in this revolving door of unhappiness of like working for this company and having to get up every day to go do a job that you're not happy with. And it's like, because I know myself personally, I have like bigger hopes and dreams and things that I want to accomplish, and like just sitting at this like not a dead end job, honestly. I mean, because a job period is a blessing to have some kind of steady income. So don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? I'm blessed to have the job that I have, but it's like when you get up every day and you're wondering like, what is my purpose? Like, is this meaningful to me? Well, not everybody thinks like that, but I personally do. And I don't feel like my job is meaningful. I don't feel like there's a purpose for it. It's a purpose, but not for me. There's a purpose for this job. Somebody likes it, but I personally don't. And it's like, anybody that ever says that they don't like their job, honestly, like if you fault that person for them saying that they don't like their job, to me, that's disrespectful to like not accept their feelings, because of the fact that you can't say that this person potentially is not going to work and doing what they're supposed to do within the job and doing right by the job. They just don't like it because it's not meaningful. It's not purposeful for them. And I'm getting to the point to where I'm realizing like people just step out on faith when they're starting their own company or when they're transitioning into something that they truly want to do, like going back to school or something like that. Like, I feel like sometimes you're better off leaving to make yourself happy versus staying somewhere where you're miserable. Now, at this point, and in this day and age, and in how the job market has evolved, you know what I mean? There's a lot of different things that you can do until you find something or you get into something that you enjoy more, such as like driving for Lyft, driving for Uber, DoorDash, Uber Eats. Like, granted, it's a lot to it, Lyft and Uber and stuff like that puts a lot of mileage and wear and tear on your car, but it's easy money. You regulate your own schedule. You ain't got to worry about no boss hovering over you and all that randomness. So you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that you can like open yourself up to doing at this time in our lives, like in this day and age. Now, back in the day when people would just step out on faith and basically have two pennies to rub together, but they stepped out on faith and they made something of themselves because they just weren't happy going to a 9 to 5 job that wasn't fulfilling their desires, their hopes, and their dreams. And I'm like, man, I be sitting at work like, bruh, like I don't like it. Like, I need the money, so I'm gonna do right by this job. But I see why I just understand why now. I understand why people just leave. Like, they just up and quit and be like, I'm finna do something different. Like, I'm gonna, basically take that leap of faith and jump into my own endeavors. And honestly, I understand that for one definitely has to do with your own self-motivation, and that deals with your own beliefs in yourself. Because I mean, honestly, when people do that kind of stuff, when they just step out on faith and just dip on their job and they want to just go and pursue their passion, like that takes a lot of confidence, you know what I mean, to do that, to basically not have anything basically for yourself. Now, granted, some people set themselves up to where they be like, well, look, I'm finna like jump into this, I'm finna save this money, and I'm about to quit my job. And a lot of people do that, and they cover themselves for so long until they start reaching their pinnacles. And I'm like, I real life get it. Because like within this last like year, maybe 2 years that I've been actually working for this company, I'm like, I've been starting to slowly have anxiety about just getting up, going to work, and like depression because I'm not happy. Like, I'm not happy. It's like, I know what I want to do, but it's taking me time to get there. So it's like having the patience to get where you want to be. But sometimes people, they have that patience, but in order to save their sanity and to save themselves, they just be like, look, I'm not even finna worry about this. Like, I'm not finna keep stressing myself no more. Like, something is gonna shake for me. Like, something good is gonna happen, basically. Like, they real life just be like, I'm done. There's this lady that I remember seeing on TV, and she was saying how she was like living somewhere with her child, and she was like going to like a dead-end job that she wasn't really happy and fulfilled with, and how she was paying rent and stuff like that, and living in like a small like apartment type deal with a roommate and her child. And she was like, just one day she was like, I didn't want to do it no more, and she just walked out of her job. She was just like, I'm done. And like now, like, I don't know her net worth, but she walked out with almost nothing, and now it's kind of like she's a motivational speaker, and she kind of goes and dabbles in and tells you what basically she kind of did in order to like transition herself into making herself happy and having and making that income that she wants for herself. And it's just like, everybody does not have the same story. Your story may relate to somebody, but it's not going to be like the exact same thing. And it's sometimes a coincidence if it is. But there's a lot of people, that go to jobs every day and they're not happy. And some of the times you can tell, depending upon what kind of establishment you go to, or just working with other people, you can see in your coworkers and stuff too when they're not happy. And it's just like, I have a perk right now of being able to like work from home, and working from home is cool, but don't get me wrong, like, it has its downfalls, because now, working from home, you're secluded in a sense, because you're basically in your house, for an entire day, and you don't have a big social life no more. Because when I was, physically at an office, I had the opportunity, to like talk to other people and just interact with my coworkers and just other people within the of that building, because it was it's corporate. So it's kind of like, it's cool, and it gets you where you need to be. So it's like, not to complain about having a job, but to understand the difference of like working a job where you're happy and content versus working a job where you're not happy and content. And honestly, I look at it as, I feel like a career and a job is definitely two different things. A career is almost something that you choose. You choose that yourself, and this is like a career you want to do, like nursing, doctor, engineer, a musician. Like, those are to me like a career type deal. A job is something where it's like you basically just using this as a filler until you can get to your career that you want. Because granted, even people who have been working in their career for a long time may not be happy, but it's a difference, because within their career they may have an option to excel into something new within that career, versus a job, the most you can do is go from a basic person there, like a standard person that starts on the bottom. You may be able to move up to like a supervisor, then you may move up to a manager, because a supervisor is dependent upon your company. Sometimes a supervisor is just like a manager trainee, basically. They don't have a lot of authority. Then you may have your manager, then you may have like your director, who's the head of the whole department. So it just depends on you, and it just depends on what your goals are. So like, just quitting your job, like, I real life understand now why people do that. like our real life do. Because when you become one with yourself and you know yourself and you know your self-worth, it's kind of like, I'm not settling. I'm done settling. Especially, I feel like we all put ourselves on that pedestal of basically saying we put ourselves on a timeline, and the timeline goes from depending upon you. Some people don't go to college, so they put themselves on the timeline from the time they graduate high school until they reach a certain age. But sometimes that timeline doesn't start immediately. Sometimes that timeline starts when they start realizing, this revolving door of these jobs is, not what's up, you know what I mean? And I'm not happy. Versus, somebody who goes to college, you go and you spend 4 years in college, 5 years in college, and then you get out either one, you can't find a job because you just graduated and you don't have any experience. So that's one thing that puts a lot of college educated people in dead-end jobs that they're not happy with. And that's what issue that I have, because of the fact that, granted, some of your college educated people, they do internships and stuff like that to go and get experience. But sometimes you may get a job at the end of it when you graduate, and sometimes you don't. And because of what you may pursue as your intern may not be something that you actually want to do. So then it's either one, stay in school and find another career path and then just go in more debt with getting your college education, or you leave and you kind of have to figure out if there's something that you really want to do or what you really want to do and what the steps are that you're going to take to go back to school or whatever the case may be. So it's just sitting here thinking, me, I have a whole bachelor's degree. I graduated in 2013 and still don't have a job within my field. And I have the most basic degree where I could work at the city parks and recreations departments and stuff like that, but I can't get a job because I don't have experience. And it was funny because we did our podcast, me and my friend, yesterday, and he was talking about how, when he graduated, he started off working for a company as a temp, and then they ended up hiring him on, and then he started building relationships with other people within that field of work. And basically, he was able to maneuver himself to become more successful within that career because he basically networked. So it's cliche, like he said, it's cliche as fuck, but it's not what you know all the time. It's who you know. You can have a degree in this certain field and still not get a job, and you're educated in it, but they don't want to hire you because you don't have experience. But if you know somebody within that field, somebody's going to put a word in to give you an opportunity. And so that's what makes it so hard for people, for a lot of people, especially myself. I just don't know. At this point, I know I want to go back to school, but I have to take the steps in order to do so. So, people look and be dang, every time I see you saying you're doing the same thing. Going back to school is not easy. Going to college is not an easy thing. Going to get your master's is not an easy thing. Now, it can be easy for some, but for me, I got to take the GRE. The GRE test is a college level SAT, basically. And the test is really hard and it's really, really expensive. So it takes a while to really process that. When you go take that test and you pay $200 and you flunk it, what do you think you gonna do in order to prepare yourself better? You gonna take them steps that you learned. You saw the test, so you know what it looks like. You gonna take them steps to try to make it better. So it's just you don't want to waste another $200-$300 on a test to go back to school. It's a lot of things feel like they're a setup, and I see why. I'm telling y'all, I see why people just randomly just be I'm done, and just leave their job. They just quit. Because in real life makes sense. It makes all the sense. I don't want to keep griping on it, but if you can relate, drop a comment. Let me know. Let's start some conversations on that and how you feel about being in the workplace, because I feel like we all go through it. We all go through it. I think a lot of us go through it within a certain amount of time. Because right now, I be feeling at that point, I just be man, I want to just be look, I'm about to turn in my stuff. Y'all can have it, and I'm going to figure it out. Because when you're not content, when you're not happy, you're not You're just not. Like, working a job is just like, you're gonna be just going through the motions basically, and you not living your life. Like, you're not living your life to the fullest potential, or you're not fulfilling your dreams. And when you can't fulfill your dreams, it's like, just basically, it seemed like it's just shots fired at you left and right because things not going your way or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, I just wanted to come and vent real quick to y'all about that. And if you can relate, if you understand, or you know somebody going through it, man, just drop a comment, like this video, share this video. Let's start some dialect on it, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are in that broken space. Till next time, y'all have a good one.